going on, everybody? Welcome back to Locked In. We are here at Axe to Grind Barbershop in Worcester, Massachusetts, at the brand new location, West Boylston Street. Here with Justin and Tim, two very special guests. Our first dual episode of Locked In. So thank you guys for being on that.
Honor.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm obviously joined here by my better half, Mr. Matthew, and we're gonna get going on this podcast. First off, thank you guys for coming and being a part of this. It means a lot. I just want to strictly talk about the support that you guys have shown Lights Out first and foremost. Yeah. It means more than you guys know. Like, I know that we've met through I used to work at a dispensary, and you were just a customer that used to come in. So I think that in itself shows that like one conversation could lead to immense things. Absolutely. Now we're each doing our own thing and having a good time doing it. So first off, I know that I just want to let you guys introduce yourself to the world. We'll go with you first. Have you talking about you real quick?
My name's Tim. I go by Tim McSweeney is my actual name. But I work in the cannabis industry now. But I also work with iBattle TV, biggest battle rap platform in the United States, one of the longest runnings. Those are some of my brothers. We do a lot of shows, pretty much 3 shows a month. We actually have a show going on right now, so download the app if after the pod or whatever. But yeah, and I'm just a dude, and I like collaborating with my friends. I'm on the Worcester City Council Advisory Board for the arts for the city, which means I have a vote along with city council members on the arts budget, stuff that comes in through the city, and I just like I like supporting my people and my friends, and like as far as like us and like our story, Chris, like honestly, like what you guys are doing is like so inspiring to me, because that's like this is exactly what like I wish I was doing back, you know what I mean, when I was y'all's age, and like I had a group of people around me that like supported me the way you guys all support one another. So like I get inspired watching what y'all are doing, so it's just beautiful, like kind of full circle moment to be here and next to this psycho who's one of my best friends and my brothers and the owner of this beautiful shop. So you know what I mean. We'll take it away, Justin.
I'm Justin Pitz. I'm the owner of Axe to Grind Barbershop and Tattoo. I'm also the CEO of the Hairy Lungs Foundation. I'm known widely in the city for many different reasons, and I'm just the type of person that likes to help people out, and I like to collab and do, I'm big on local scenes and local people and people that are just trying to grind it out and do something and make something out of nothing. So here I am.
Oh yeah, love that. That's inspiring in itself. I know you posted a reel, and you were just talking about it before we started filming the other day. You posted a reel and just talking about how hard it is to even keep the lights on. People don't see that, and that's an embodiment of our brand and what we did and why we made this brand. We want to put that spotlight on people who really have worked their hardest and been through some shit, and at the other end are still going through it and continue to thrive and do the best they can do. So I commend you for that. 100%. But thank you for having us.
Yeah, man.
And I was gonna say it's so much different too when you're the one, like, this is your main stream of money, and
this is it, man.
This is your business. Whereas Chris and I and Nate behind the cameras over there, this is just kind of what we're trying to build up for fun. Like we have like our 9 to 5, and but when your 9 to 5 is your passion, and when you're in charge of it, like you really have to show up every day, and there's really no days off.
I didn't. This is something I had to build too. You know what I mean? Like I just was a kid that fell on the tough times, and I started hanging around the wrong people, doing the wrong things, and one day I just decided. I didn't even decide, honestly. I went to jail for a short period of time, and I shaved some kid's head in jail, and I got out, and I was like, maybe I'll be a barber. Maybe I'll do what every other ex-felon does. And I went to barber school to sell somebody Suboxone, and my buddy was a teacher there, and he was like, what are you doing in your life? And I was like, I ain't doing shit. And he was like, why don't you go sign up for school? And I said, okay. And I turned around, and I signed up for school, and I was still running amok halfway through barber school. And then one day I still talk to the kid today. His name's Geoff, and I remember sitting with him, and I was trying to get sober. I couldn't imagine living life the way I was anymore, but I couldn't imagine a life without the way I was living, right? So, and I remember him looking at me and being like, I've been sober 2 years. And I was like, 2 years? Like, nothing, no weed, no nothing. And to me, that was so foreign.
Yeah, it's like crazy.
I couldn't
like
go
alien.
2 minutes, you know what I mean? And at that moment, something changed in me. And instead of going with the guys that were getting high on lunch and all, I started going to meetings with this dude. And this kid really kind of saved my life a little bit. And if you know anything about the Big Book and AA, it's like there's this guy named Ebby that Bill Wilson was like getting all drunk and just messed up, and he saw this dude that showed up at his door they hadn't seen in years, and he was like, oh my God, you look different. And he's like, I've got religion. And it's like this whole thing of like, that was his Ebby. That's what made him understand, like, all right, maybe if he can do this, I can do this. So then I just kind of just dug in with both of my feet, and it's been a long build, man. And we're looking at 8 years now, you know what I mean? I've been cutting hair 15, I've only been doing this for 8, and I'm blessed, man. It's all starting to fall into place finally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy how how Justin and I kind of found one another, started working together like later in life. We had very like parallel journeys. We both kind of fell into addiction around the same time, right? And like I had a different journey. Like I did like the college thing, and like I just felt like I didn't have like a somebody to guide me after college. Like none of my friends went to college. Like I had no like family members that were really like influencing me or anything like that. So after college, I thought I had it made, right? So I get out, and it's the first like economic collapse under Bush, right? I'm hella old. So like we're in Iraq, shit's crazy. I can't get a job. I'm out here like getting hired, working for companies with like some of my friends. I'm selling sunrooms in the malls. I'm doing all this crap, and like so like I ended up going back to my college. Like, listen, it's been like 4 years. Like what are we doing? So I ended up jumping in with Wayfair. Did super well in like the e-commerce tech space, and was like the youngest director in Wayfair history. Like went up and opened the call center when I was like 26, 27 out in Utah. I lived in Utah, Cali, Texas, and it was really cool. But like as I'm like getting more successful in business, like again, like I had no guidance from anybody or anyone to check me. So like I kind of figured I had it all like figured out, and like those guys, like, you know, those account executive bros, those senior account executives that are making 6-7 figures, like they're like some of the scummiest people I've ever come across. Like I have some corporate America stories that would make people squirm, you know what I'm saying? But like, so like I didn't really have that guidance, so it was like a party hard thing. So I just thought that's what like successful people did, right? And it gets to a point where it doesn't matter like how much money you're making, or like it's gonna catch up to you, right? So both of us got pretty bad around the same time, and what I heard he had gotten sober. We were cool like in like high school, right? For like
I wasn't even like this kid when I met him.
Yeah, like we didn't really get along too well, but like we tolerated one another, right? Like we were like in the same circle of friends, right?
We had one friend that was like, he went to North, but I grew up with him, so these kids were all his North friends, and we were his Auburn friends. So like
nobody likes fucking townies, you know what I mean? Like
combining the friend group can be a little
townies, bro. Like townies, bro. Like, you know.
And then now to see like how close me and Tim are, it's like I think about it a lot, and it's like it's pretty wild. You know what I mean? How like I don't know, you always think of who you want your friends to be or who you think your friends are gonna be, and really it's just like it's who your friends end up being is what's important. You know what I mean? Even as a barber, I always thought like I was gonna be cutting all these famous people and, you know, these rappers and these you know, industry dudes, and it's like one day I realized like all those people are all the fuck around me, and they're just my friends like you guys that just haven't had the chance to get on yet. So why am I gonna clout chase all these people like, let me cut joiner, let me do this, let me do that, when really it's like all my guys are right around me, and it's my job to lift them up and to put them out onto a platform, even with the little bit of platform that I have. And anybody who knows me knows that like I like all my friends' shit. I share all my friends' shit, even if they're another barbershop. Like I don't give a fuck, dude. Like all I need is for one of my friends to really make it and take me with them. And if it ain't gonna be me, and I'm 42 years old, like I got young baseball players, I got musicians, I got, you know, entrepreneurs. I got guys that are really doing it on the grind every day that come in and out of this shop, and I'd be a fool not to support them and not to shout them out and any little thing. Like I made a post the other day. It's like, damn man, like I see everybody that sees my shit, you know, and I see the people that have taken a half a second to hit a heart. My wife gave me shit sometimes, like, you like everybody's stuff. It's like, I'm just trying to show them love. I'm just trying to put them out. That's how they get seen. And it's like, you know, I got to be careful on who I do. Because like, look, just I like your heart. They ain't trying to mean we're trying to fuck. Like, I'm just trying to support the people that are around me. You know what I mean? And it's like, when I see that, and it's like, sometimes I get salty where it's like, damn, man, you guys are all my homies. And like, you can't even just do that real quick. Like, I see you're seeing my shit, you know? And it's like, sometimes I don't even look at some of your shit. It's just heart, because it's the least I can do, right? So it's like,
I love that mindset.
It's real, and it's really who I am, and it's like I'm not putting on for nobody. Like you can look back on any of my social medias, talk to anybody that knew me from back in the day. Like I always been this. Like I've changed and I've grown and I've morphed, but like I it's always been me, you know what I mean? That's all I know how to be, you know, and that's why I love Kanye like, so best is that he's just Kanye all the time. I don't necessarily agree with everything he says or everything he does, but he just can't help but be himself, and like that's how I feel, you know, like I am what I am, you know what I mean?
But yeah, Justin's a great example of that, and like you know when you know we had reconnected, like that's something that like one of the first things I noticed, you know, I was getting cut in his kitchen, you know, before he even had a shop, and just like he has a big heart and he really goes hard for his friends, so it's easy to like this kid, you know, and just work with him. So, but like in terms of just like when I found myself sober, like they don't teach you what to do once you get off drugs, right? So like I was kind of walking on eggshells around people. I didn't really know how to act. Like I was super embarrassed for like what like I went through, and for whatever reason, like you learn to like heal yourself and like accept what happened, but like fresh out, you're just like your brain is just like firing on all cylinders, right? And like I would hear him at the shop, and he's just so like unabashedly himself. He'll say some wild shit that'll have me be like, Jesus Christ, he just fucking say that. But like he's an open book, and he's you know every chapter in his book he's not only ashamed of, but he'll talk about it and share it. And I thought that was just super powerful. And I was like, man, maybe this kid isn't such a dick. Like, and so like then I started getting my hair cut, and we started talking, and I'm like, fuck. Kind of like this kid, and it was like, you know what I mean, it was just like a bad rash, and it just spread, and now we're homies, and like, you know, I'm infected, and that's a really weird thing to say. Do I pause that? I don't know. The battle rap kids are gonna kill me for that, but yeah, no, that's the homie, man, for a big heart on this guy.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times like I've been, you know, even back in the day before I had my own shop, where like, you know, I was telling some kid about my story with addiction and all that, and like, you know, you get a certain type of people that are like, and certain moms, certain, you know, bosses or whatever, like, yo, don't be saying that. But like, I can't tell you how many people have messaged me on the low afterwards, been like, Absolutely. Listen, my son OD'd and is dead, and like, it's really nice to hear your story and to hear you sharing that, because like, if I can help one person, and it's not only with the sobriety shit, with the business, with the being yourself, like just on apology, doing what you do best. If I can help one person, then it's worth it to me. You know what I mean? And I might lose some people along the way, but you know, like Tim was saying, like I love with my heart, man. And it's like my wife, she's different. Like she'll get to know you, and she sees. She puts the brakes on. You got to earn your respect with her. Me, I'm like, Facts. I see the good in you right away. Facts. And I get burned a lot because of it, but I've also made some like long-lasting life like relationships with people that are like really, really tight, you know? And I just gonna continue doing that because that's what I do, and I really don't care what anybody feels about it, honestly. You know what I mean?
I mean, I love that. I mean, that's kind of the risk you take though when you're such an open heart. Is people can go against that and kind of take advantage of that. But what I'm hearing is like you haven't lost that at all. No matter what people do to you, people will not take that from you. Never will. And that is
a lot of people I know couldn't survive my best day. You know what I mean? And it's like you can knock. I just had to move shops. That was one of the hardest years of my life. Crazy. I recently just got sober again. You know, I started smoking weed and drinking a little bit here and then. You know, and it was hard for me to come back this time because last time I was in dumpsters and doing all kinds of crazy shit. And this time it's like I was just drinking a little bit and smoking some weed. But it's like, you know, that's a tough pill to swallow, and to walk back into AA and walk back into my friends, my meetings. They haven't seen me in 8 years. I was in the shower. I remember, like, me and my wife were getting ready to get divorced, and just this whole year fucked me up big time. Like, I had friends dip on me. I had people quit on me. I had to move locations, and it was like, you know, shit with the family, and I wasn't really present for my kids because I had to do this. It was always like, I got to make this happen. This is all I got, you know. But really, in the truth of it is, like, my kids don't give a fuck what's in the bank account. They don't care about none of that shit. They want their dad, you know? So it's like, I got to keep work, and I got to keep home. And like, as a man and a husband and a father and a friend, like, that's a lot of pressure to hold, where it's like, where's my time? What do I do for me, you know? And it's like, I was like, that's it. I'm done with the weed. I'm done with the smoking. Like, it's just too much. Like, I need to lock in and really, like, set some fucking roots in and let this shit grow, you know? I get 7 figures and then we'll talk, but like until then, man, like I gotta buckle down and I gotta do what's right. And I can just say that I got 2 months sober today, you know what I mean? And like that's crazy to think of. And I was in the shower before I decided to make this transition, and I was like, damn, how long's it been since I like was really sober? When was the best time of my life? And it was definitely the 5 years I was dead sober. And I thought about it, and I'm like, all right, we got married in 2017, and literally me and my wife were dead sober my whole wedding. Didn't have a sip of booze, nothing. We went to Aruba. We were sitting waiting in line, and we were both kind of want to have a drink. We were like, well, let's go have a drink. And we did, and for a while everything was fine. But I thought about it, I'm like, damn, it's been 8 years. It's been almost a decade that I had been just kind of dabbling and doing this and trying to hold it all together. And I was just like, that's it, I'm done. And these last 2 months have been great. And like just yesterday, I had such a positive day where, the product company, Holy Black, those are my people. And like, they just reached out talking about how real I am and how they appreciate the love and the support, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And I had so much positive shit going on yesterday. And then I went to my little Friday night meeting, and I'm like, one guy's like, how's it going? I'm like, honestly, it's fucking going great. Like, a month ago, I wanted to kill myself, but now it's fucking going great. And it's like, and then it clicked. I'm like, go figure, dude. I get sober, and everything's starting to work out. You know what I mean? So it's just been a wild journey, and like, who knows what tomorrow will bring? You know what I mean? But I know I ain't going back to yesterday. So.
Kind of going back on like what you were saying about, just, going 100% into everybody you meet and stuff like that. I feel like, knowing what you've gone through and what you've been able to overcome, I think you just have this natural inclination to kind of, not judge a book by its cover.
Definitely
and just
not.
right, because it's
Definitely
like, you've been on the good side of life, you've been on the lowest side of life. So I mean, whereas someone who maybe doesn't share your struggles are a little bit more judgmental and aren't
100%.
aren't willing to kind of give the person the chance just because of the way they look or because of their story. And I know like how you were saying, like, some moms might look at you weird or you see this tattooed up dude and with some gauges but
I take that personally, and it's not like I don't take it personally as a negative thing. I take it personally as a positive thing. Like, I'm going to show you you're wrong, and I'm going to change the way you look at people. And then, they might see the way we're, lately we've been really trying to tighten up at the shop. We're trying not to swear. We're trying to talk about no negative stuff, no politics, no nothing. And that shit sucks you in. Negativity sucks you in, and I'm really good at being sucked in. So we're trying to, like, really be positive and
that would be a pause.
And really, like, make it... Like, we're trying to tighten it all up, you know what I mean? And it's like, they might come in at first, especially, like, I don't know if, like, you guys know, like, I cut kids with autism for a living. It's, like, one of the best things I do with my life. It's the only thing I'm really, really good at. And I get parents that come in and they're kind of like, not so much this shop, but the old shop. It was a little bit more gritty. It was a little bit more on edge, and I could see their faces. And then I'd lay on the floor and I'd cut their kids' hair, and I could just watch that barrier come down, and then be like, oh man, this kid is a really good kid, and then maybe next time when they're at the store and there's some dude that might be struggling and might be a little, like a junkie type of dude, and it's like, hey man, we're just all people. Like, I'm one bad decision away from being that, and so are you, and so are him, and so are you. So it's like, if I can just help somebody be like, look man, people are people, and like, you got to meet them where they're at, and you got to love them for who they are and see the positive in them, not necessarily negative,
So I did have the fortune to kind of see you at work a couple months ago. I think maybe, I don't even remember, around September or so, I came in for a haircut with your brother.
Right.
And you had a client who, came in with their son who had like the sensory.
Yeah, we like to say neurodiversity.
Yes.
That's the correct way to say it.
Yep. So kind of being in that, obviously it wasn't planned. I didn't know what to expect, and I knew it was like a specialty of yours to do here. But kind of to see it in action, it was very inspiring. Like your patience that you had, and working with the child. When they were able to sit still, you kind of did what you could do. When they kind of flipped the switch a little bit, you let them have their space, you let them do what they needed to do. You were so accommodating with like the toys and stuff like that, just very, very patient. And I don't know many people who would be willing or able to kind of handle handle situations like that. So my kind of question is like, how did you kind of get into that, and how did you know you were good at doing this?
That's a good question. I always loved kids. I always was sitting at the kid table. Kids, there's something special about kids. They're genuine. They're real. They look at, you're fat. Like they don't hold back. You know what I mean? They say what they mean. And nowadays, especially at our age, like, that's a rare thing, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And so I was always really good at cutting kids. Then I had a friend of ours that we knew from AA and stuff, and their son was neurodivergent. He was probably 3 years old, and I was like, let me give it a shot. Cut his hair, everything started to go well. A lot of times in the beginning when they're young, it's not so bad. Then they start to realize, I don't got to make this easy on him. And it was a challenge, right? And it kind of started that whole process for me. And back then, like, I'm big on, like, when you know better, you do better. And back then, we used to just hold kids down and cut their hair, you know? And then time went on, and mom started shouting me out, and it just started to grow. And then eventually, I got hit up by this other company that I'm not going to mention. You know, I don't want to drag them up. I don't want to drag them down. But I went and started traveling the country, and I started learning how to I learned more about autism. You know, I showed up to this event that they were like, hey, do you want to be an educator, national educator? I'm like, hell yeah, that'd be great. I'm such a dummy. I showed up with like shorts and a t-shirt. I walked by the room and everybody's dressed up in like nice outfits. I'm like, bro, I'm not coming downstairs. I forgot good clothes. I don't know what I was thinking. The kid's like, dude, nobody cares what you look like. Just come down. I took this class. They taught me what autism was, what it means to be autism, what it takes to be diagnosed as autism. And honestly, in the class, I'm like, check. I'm like, I'm probably autistic. You know what I mean? And I started doing really well with that. And I took that company to other levels. I changed the name of the company, and then I realized like I was being exploited. I wasn't getting paid. It wasn't me. You know, it was, hi, this is so and so. Like, it was just fake. You know, it wasn't real. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, this is not for me. And so I decided to leave that company. And I was kind of bummed out that I was like, that's my shot. That's my chance. But I learned more. I learned that, like, we don't need to hold the kids down. You know, we tell kids scissors are dangerous and we go near their eyeballs and expect them to sit still. Like, if I put you in a headlock and cut your hair, you wouldn't like it either. You'd be like, I don't think I'm ever going back there. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's why, like, I started just following the kids around. I'll cut them on the floor. I'll cut them on the couch. I've cut kids in the parking lot. I've cut kids in the bathroom. I've cut them in the car. I've literally sat in the back seat of the car and reached around and cut the kids' hair.
In the park all the time.
Yeah, put them in the seat in the car, because it's like what we need to do is build trust, right? And yeah, it might suck in a little bit a lot of times lately, I got to work with the parents. Hey, mom, go outside. And they're looking at me like, what? And it's like, well, if you're right next to him, he's going to be grabbing for you. He's going to want you. I need him to trust me. He already loves and trusts you. I need him to love and trust me and know that he's safe with me. And sometimes they're like, weird about it, but you know, I started doing that, and it started really picking up. And then I started going off on my own. And honestly, just like 2 months ago, I reached out to the kid that I cut 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And I still know of his dad. I know they're around. We don't hang out much. My wife and his wife or ex-wife ain't friends anymore. And I was like, hey, why don't you bring the boys in? You know, Jax now is 14 years old. He's a goddamn giant. And so we finally brought him in, and I was cutting his hair, and now he talks. And, it was kind of a full circle moment for me where I was like, damn, bro, like, last time I cut this kid's hair, he was nonverbal. Now I'm able to talk to him about math class and planets and outer space. And I was honestly like, damn, man, if it wasn't for Jax, like, I might not be doing what I'm doing today, you know? And I said that, and my wife, she's got a knack for just kind of setting me right, you know what I mean? And she's like, don't give that to him. She's like, he didn't do that, you did that. And she's like, you've always loved kids. You've always been a caretaker and wanted to take care of people. Like, you would have found this one way or another. You know, it's in me. It's not something I put on. It's not, and that's why it's like, you know, people have said like, oh, well, you should watch how you do this, watch how you do that. It's like, look, I am what I am, right? And if you understand that and you see what I'm doing and you see that it's real love and I really do care about these kids, then bring your kid in. And if not, go to Snippets and good luck. Seriously, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to put on and be like, well, hello, Mrs. Oh, like, it ain't me, dude. I'm going to be me, and you need to either love me for me or go find somewhere else. And that was a hard transition to figure out. I always thought, like, I had to do this for everybody. And look, if you're not going to bring your kid once every 6 weeks, if you're not going to desensitize them at home, like, I have parents that'll come in and be like, kid's hair's crazy long, and they're like, oh, can you give him a skin fade mohawk with a design? I'm like, when's the last time you've been in? Oh, a year? I'm like, no, I can't do that. Like, look, I don't want to be the bad guy all the time. Yeah. Like, the reason I lay on the floor and get covered in hair, which I absolutely hate being covered in hair because I have OCD too and sensory issues, is like, because I'm willing to work towards a better tomorrow. But if you're not going to do the work, I don't want to be the bad. I don't want him to come in and be scared of me all the time. I'll do it for 2 years, a year, 3 years, however long it takes if you're going to do the work. Because eventually it's going to be better on you, it's going to be better on me, and it's going to be better on him. Like the kid, Luca, I talk about him all the time. He was like my number one guy. And I went to high school with his dad, and I kept being like, why aren't they bringing me to him? And it was probably a bunch of reasons, but the mom would take him to Snippets, right? This kid was severe nonverbal, and she'd hold him, he'd cry, she'd cry, and it would be this crazy traumatic experience, and then to wait another year till he had a man bun, and they'd bring him back again. And I say was nonverbal because I started cutting him. First, he wouldn't even come in the building. I had to cut him outside. Then I'd get him in the building, and then, we started doing haircuts, and then within about 2.5 years, I started skin fading him, giving him little razor blade designs, and it was really cool for me because he went from being the strange kid with autism in his class to the cool kid with the cool haircut, right? Then after 3 years, he started coming in with the pad. Thank you for haircut, Justin. And, it just kept getting better and better and better. And then 4 years of me cutting his hair, he's in the backseat of his car, and his first words ever were, "Mom, haircut, Justin." And, we all cried. And now I still cut him. He loves Dean Martin, and he listens to Dean Martin while I'm cutting. I'm like, where did you find this from? What is going on? And it's just I've seen the improvement. And guess what? His parents don't have to worry about haircuts anymore. Because with any kid, let alone a kid with neurodiversity, it's there's a lot of struggles. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that parents have to deal with. And at one point, my wife was talking to someone, and she's like, why do you come here? Kind of almost sound are you into my husband kind of deal? And the lady was like, oh no. She's like, it's great. I don't have to be a mom. I can just sit on the couch like a regular mom on our phone, and Justin parents my kid, and Justin deals with the kid, and I get a break for 40 minutes out of my hectic day. And it's if I can provide that for somebody, and like I said, we're moving this shop, and this year I had was the worst year of my life. It was really, really, really bad. And despite what I've dealt with in the past, I had built this shop from nothing. The first time around, I was like, man, I'll give it a shot, see how it goes. I wasn't taking it serious. And then now, after 8 years, this is all I got. And when it got ripped out from under me from many different variables, I was like, damn, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? This is all I got. I got to make this happen. And I had to move, and I had to this and that. And, it was a really, 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 really hard year. But, I made it, and I'm still here. And it's I can't tell you how many opportunities I've scoundreled, or I've messed up, or, I've just put myself out of separate rooms, or how many times I've had to restart. And I remember, someone saying to me recently, Justin, you get to reinvent yourself all over again, I don't know how long you guys been in Whistler, but before I opened Axe to Grind, there was nothing like it. There was hood barbershops, there was old man barbershops, and there was sports barbershops. Mm-hmm. And I worked in all three of them. And when I left Justin's barbershop that I worked at forever, I said, look, I'm going to do what nobody's doing until everybody starts doing it. And I didn't have a plan. I went and looked at this building, and so basically my brother-in-law worked at a place, and he had told me 2 years prior, he's like, yo, there's this spot on Shrewsbury Street to make a sick barbershop. It's kind of split. You could have me doing office work with a glass wall and a barbershop. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. That's a big undertaking. I'm scared, Mm-hmm. And then what the hell happened? And then one day I was just, I was painting on the side. I was doing something for some work, and I was just like, oh no, that's what happened. So my tattoo artist, Ideal Americana, my cousin was getting tattooed by him, and he's like, hey, I got this second floor that I can't really do much with, and I don't want to hire other tattoo artists and deal with personalities and all that. And he was like, why don't you even talk to Justin? Because I had always had this idea of this social model barbershop, something different where it was a place to hang, like how they used to be, you know what I mean? And so we started talking, and unfortunately his wife's ex-husband was a coke addict, and she knew of my story because I'm an open book. And Jeremy loves me and did at the time, and he was just like, she ain't having it. And I instead of getting mad, I was just like, look, I get it. I totally understand, you know what I mean? If she had a 30-minute conversation with me, things might have changed. But something sparked in me there, and I was like, well, let me go on Craigslist and see what they got open just for the hell of it, And I started going through Craigslist, and I see this thing, brick interior, post and beam, park entrance. And right away, I remember what Brandon said 2 years ago, and I messaged him. I said, hey, is this your office? And he goes, yep, texting Phil right now. I didn't even have a choice, you know what I mean? He already knew where my head was at. So then we set up this meeting, and I was supposed to meet this guy. I had no money. I had no barbers. I had no credit. I had no possible means to open a barbershop whatsoever. And he's like, he wants to meet. So I'm like, oh, geez, okay, well, let's see. I'm the type of guy, I don't dip my toe in the water. I jump right in and see how cold the water is. Let's see how cold this water is. And I remember painting a guy on Park Ave's apartment. He owns Central Auto Body or something like that. This guy, Mike. I remember I was painting, and we were supposed to go meet Phil, and I was just I started getting scared. And I was like, called him up. I'm like, Phil, look, I'm in the middle of painting. I don't have a lot of time. Like, I don't think I can make this meeting. Can we reschedule? And he goes, well, sounds like you guys aren't serious about it. Yep, never mind. Forget about it. If you get serious, give me a call. And I thought to myself for a second, and I was like, whew. Like, now I can say, oh, it didn't work out, guys. Not my fault. Like, I get to be comfortable again, right? And then 2 seconds later, I was like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, I get emotional thinking about it. And I was like, I got to see what's up. And I dropped the roller wet. I left it on the floor, and I ran down there in paint clothes. And the place was beautiful. And it was only the first side of the barbershop. And there was nothing in there. Dropped the brick and a little ashtray and a couch. And we get to talking. And I'm like, oh, I want to do this social model. And I was going to go in business with my brother-in-law. We're going to have a shirt and tie and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, all right, I'll give him a shot. $1,000. No down payment, no first and last, no nothing. And I didn't have no money. My brother-in-law gave me a check for $1,000, and I was like, holy shit, I just got a barbershop. What am I going to do? And I started talking about it. My boss caught wind of it. He got scared and was like, you're stealing people from my shop. Fired me the next day. And I was like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? So I packed up all my shit, and I said, bye, guys. I'm going to figure this out. I didn't say, hey, if you come with me, I'm going to open the shop, but only if, I didn't do that. I said, all right, dude, it's time to fucking really see what you're made of. I went home. Like Tim said, I cut out of my kitchen for 5 months till I could save up the money, figure it all out. And then I finally got the shop together. I went and saw Mike, who's my shop manager. We went to barber school together, and he had already had his life together. And I kind of looked up to him. He's 5 years younger than me, and so I started going to get haircuts from him. Like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this thing and this and that. And he's like, I don't know. Last time he knew me, I was shooting heroin in the bathroom. You know what I mean? So he's like, I don't know. And I kind of got him to be like, well, I'm like, can I at least use your license? And so I can open up and say I have a barber. We've got to pull some strings. And he's like, yeah. Then I came back for a haircut another couple weeks later, and I talked to him a little bit more. And then the third time I had a logo and I had a sticker. And I'm like, hey, man, here's my sticker. And he's like, oh, we're doing cool shit like stickers? I'm in. And then he bought in. So I built this barbershop. And then I remember, like, it was my 1-year wedding anniversary, in fact, April 30th. The shop anniversary's May 1st, May Day, right? And I was there all night getting the shop ready for this lady to come in and blah, 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 blah. And she comes in, she comes in the day before or whatever, and was like, I can't approve you. You don't have a station. And I'm like, meanwhile, I had my cousin making the stations. Everybody was helping me out, doing stuff for free. So I couldn't be like, yo, I need it today. Right. I paid for this. So I was like, kind of at the wit's end of everybody else's, liberty or whatever. And I'm like, lady, please. I'm like, I'm starting tomorrow. I got a whole book of schedule. And she's like, I'll tell you what, I'll be back on Sunday. If you can get this station in, I'll approve you for Monday. So I'm like, oh, thank God. Saturday, she texts me. She's like, I'm not going to be able to make it in. Something happened, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh, my God. She's like, but I'm going to see what I can do for you. So she's like, look, I called in a favor. Get there Sunday. Your window is from 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. So I'm like sitting there. There's one barber chair, a fold-out table, a TV. I'm like, what am I going to do? At the time, I was smoking weed. I wanted to smoke so bad. But I'm like, I didn't know when she was coming. So finally, this little old Bette Milder lady Golden Girls. Old lady comes in the door, and right away she's like, oh my God, this is beautiful. She's like, this should be in the back bay. And then she starts telling me, like, look, I haven't been in Whistler in 32 years. My territory is in Boston, and that lady likes you for some ever reason, and she must really love you because she called in a very special favor to get me here on a Sunday. And we got to talking, and she's like, she was the sweetest lady, dude, and I love old ladies. Me and them just see eye to eye. And she's like, she goes, so I'm signing the paperwork. And now, meanwhile, like I said, everything was on everybody else's shoulders. There was so much pressure for me. And she's like, I'm like filling out the paperwork. I'm like, what's today's date? And she's like, oh, it's May 1st, May Day. You're never going to forget today. I said, oh, no, definitely not. Last night was me and my wife's 1-year wedding anniversary. And I was here till 2 in the morning getting this place set up for you. And she's like, wow, you must have yourself an awesome woman. And I was like, yeah, I do. And I signed that paperwork. She left. I picked up the phone and I called my wife, and as soon as I heard her voice, I started bawling like a little girl. And it was like, I've done every drug under the sun, and like this was the most relief I ever felt in my life because I was like, oh, we did it, And she's like, oh, baby, they failed you. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Because I couldn't even say a word. I was like, just bawling. And I sat on the couch, and she listened to me cry for 20 minutes. And then finally I was able to be like, we got approved. We did it. And like, since then, it's just been like full speed ahead. And like, it's crazy you asked that question because I haven't told that story since I opened the barbershop. And like, it's wild to think back of like how hard that was. And then again, having to do it now the second time with way more pressure because I built my whole family on this. Like, this is all I got. My kids dance 6 nights a week. I have a son. My wife doesn't work. Like, it's all me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. On the financial side, my wife does plenty of stuff at home, and I'd much rather be here than taking care of 3 kids by myself. But it's been a wild ride. And, like, you know, now with the autism shit, I opened the Harry Lungs Foundation, which is a nonprofit I'm trying to put together to raise money to get some kind of vehicle and able to travel directly to the kids and give them a good experience before they walk into a traditional barbershop. And it doesn't have to be just a kid with neurodiversity. Like, if you have a son and it's his first haircut, I highly recommend you let me cut his hair and he'll never be scared of haircuts again, you know? So that's been taking a little while to get off the ground because it's expensive as hell and it's a lot. But I do have a website, Instagram for it. I do put up tons of content, and you know, I have people that drive 2 hours just to come get a haircut from me, and they're like, "Oh, we saw you on the news, we saw you on this, we saw you on that," and it's been really, really cool. And I almost gave it up through the process of opening this because I was like, "Man, it's just too much. Like, I'm stressed out. I got to walk around, travel, you know, lay on the floor and cut this kid," and I was like, maybe I'll just stop that, you know. And then I was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, this is the only thing you're very, very good at. Better than anybody I know. I know plenty of people that can cut hair better than me. I know plenty of people that run a business better than me. But I don't know many people that can cut kids with autism better than I do. So it's time to dive in and just see where it can take me, you know? That goes back to, like, my post I made about must be nice. You know, it's like people don't know what it took to do this. People, he makes it look easy. It's like, well, it's not easy. And it is
like
nice.
A good story related to that is we were doing our third iBattle show, right? And it was going to be the last iBattle show at Axe the Ground on Shrewsbury Street. So, like, just like background with the iBattle. Like, iBattle is like
tell a little background about iBattle just for the people that don't know.
Cool. So the current iteration of iBattle, we got iBattle TV. We have our own app. We're on YouTube, iBattle TV, and it's battle rap. So like we're so there's my friend Lex was a battler. He bought the platform about 6-7 years ago. Kind of redesign what they're doing. It's a different iteration of some battle leagues that have been around for a while, and kind of iBattle is known as one of the best platforms to developing talent, right? And we're really all over the place. We're the most active platform, so we have weekly Wednesday night word fights in the spaces. A lot of people ask me how to get on iBattle, and it's you get in the spaces first on Twitter, battle over the mics and stuff, which is a great place because you can see if you could write, right? You can kind of see the charisma, and then if you kill it there, we'll put you in our developmental league, which is the Forge, which we're going to be having. We should announce it now. So May 25th, we're going to have iBattle back up in Worcester. We're going to do a show at Axe the Grind. Super excited about that. We haven't announced for shit. Lex is going to be bitching at me probably over text for announcement. It's all good, bro. Lex loves y'all. Lex loves y'all, bro. Shout out Lex. You know what I mean?
I can blur it out, bro. Don't worry.
I'm the head of the unpaid interns, so like the good thing is like if they fire me, like my bread is still good. So But yeah, so we're really excited about that. So we were doing our third show. It was gonna be like this like big one at the last Axe the Grind, right? And so like with iBattle, like I was saying, it's like 5 or 6 of us that run the whole thing. Like we have contracts with like really big guys, but for like a whole show, like it's really like we put our money up anywhere from like a travel show, anywhere from probably like $10,000 to like $30,000 like per show, right? We recoup because it's basically pay-per-view. So you can buy the iBattle app yearly, monthly, or you can just buy the specific pay-per-views, right? So like there's a lot of risk doing these shows, and so it's literally the week of the show. I was dealing with a lot of bullshit at work. I was trying to get like a Friday off, and I was stressed I wasn't gonna get Friday off because in order to recoup the money, like we really get it out of the mud. Like a lot of these guys, like we obviously get like some of the talent will fly in, like we'll obviously take care of hotels, but there's 16 to 20 people on a card. Like that's a lot of hotel rooms, and just for like the profit that we make, sometimes it doesn't make sense. So I'll have dudes sleeping on my couch, my spare bedroom. Like we like literally my house is like the crash pad. I fit as many people in as possible. So I got people coming up, buying groceries, I'm getting ready, right? And I wake up Tuesday morning to a text from him, and I had known that the person who had bought the building on Shrewsbury Street was giving him a really, really hard time. She's out of her mind. There's not even
psycho
any point in like giving her any clout, but anyway, or even mention her name anymore. But so I knew it was a hard time, but I was like, yo, bro, I saw him on that Friday, and I was like, Justin, like, you sure we're good? Because like he's like, yeah, we'll be fine. We're gonna be out of here next month, but I got like 4 more weeks, no problem. I wake up to my phone, I just see like 3 videos he had sent me, and just the words not good, and it's this lady just screaming at him about to fight Liddy. Like there's people there, it's chaos. Like she's changing the locks, like all this crazy shit going on, and I'm like, oh fuck. So I like immediately call out of work that Tuesday, and I call the iPad guys. I'm like, yo, we might have a problem. Like, listen, I took the day off work, so then I just go to all these other venues that I've like worked with at other things. Like I booked shows for when I was out of college. I was looking for work originally, so like I have some relationships with some people around. So I'm like, and people know when you're back up against the wall, they're like jacking up the prices, and I'm like, man, like at this point, I'm probably just gonna lose thousands of dollars. Like the goal would be to break even at this point. I'm like, fuck. So then I called Justin, and I'm like, listen, man, like we can move the show. Like, what about this new place? And he's like, I can get into it today. And he's like, it needs a lot of work, right? So we pull up to this place, and I kid you not, nothing was here. Like it was just like, it was like a storage, it would look like Storage Wars almost, like just a bunch of stuff, right? The floor wasn't down, wasn't painted, nothing. And I'm like, bro, is there any way we could do the show this Friday at Axagon? This is Tuesday now, right? And he's like, fuck it. He's like, if you can help, we could do it. And we said, all right. He wanted to put a floor down. So he'd be here. He would cut all day. They were still able to work in the old shop at that time.
Like a little barbershop in the corner over there.
Exactly. And like, so he's literally cutting all day, working like 12 hours. And I would pull up after my work. We would be laying down floor. It would be like me, him, and Liddy, his wife, and just like working on this place. Then he'd have his barbers helping doing some stuff. You know what I mean? There was just really a collective effort of all the axholes. And literally the night before the show, we were literally last minute. We were here until like 12:30, I think. Me, him, and Liddy. He was buffing the floor. It was just chaos, but we really put it together last minute. And honestly, that week, like, I probably worked like 60 hours that week. This man worked probably 100 hours that week just to make it so like I could have my show because he gave me his word type shit. Like that's the kind of dude you want to do business with, you know what I mean? And like, and in the end it was good because we were, he was able to get the shop going a little bit faster than anticipated, and it worked out for everybody.
I don't even think I could. I was here for the show, right? I
had
all this shit I had to do.
And the best part was the day of the big show. We had 2 shows that weekend. Day of the big show on Saturday, I pull up here and he's like, hey, all right, so here are the keys. Just lock up when you're done. And just left me with his fucking brand new shop and a bunch of people he didn't know. We had like 80 people here, bro. Like, yeah.
I was like, damn, dude, I'm going to miss it. I'm like, hey, bro, just don't burn the place down, and I hope it goes well, you know?
And, that's what it was, man. And we've been,
He said the guys loved it. We had no stations, so they had the whole checkered floor with the cool background, all the
It looked so good.
It
looked so good.
Cool.
It looked so good. The sun's down now, so I can stop being a Hollywood douchebag. Take the glasses off. Crazy. I'll never forget that text, bro. This is bad.
Not gonna lie, that was the latest show though, because we went to one of them, and then the last show at the last one, that was lit.
That was fire too. That was a good one. That was a really good one.
And I show up the next day and the floor is smoked. I'm like, oh,
fucking
smoked.
Yo, there was a dude who the last battle, there was like a shtick for like slapping the floor, and he hit the floor and he was gonna do it again, and I'm off camera and I go, yo, you hit that floor again, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm like, all I'm thinking is like, well, if we crack this floor or some dumb shit, like I'm gonna be so pissed. But yeah, it was the last minute. It was but it was cool. I mean those are like as successful as the show was, and like as much money as we made, and we had there's a lot of like really, really good views and hits across social for this shit. It's just like the stories like that, like I'm gonna remember like buffing the floor with him and Liddy and like having some beers and like just like, you know what I mean? Like
I just want to say real quick, like from where me and Tim were when we met to where we are now, like I remember like right around that time, a little after that time, just being like, damn, Tim's like one of the best friends, if not the best friend I have. And I don't mean just like, oh, he comes to smoke L's with me and shit, but like Tim is the most like the best cheerleader you would ever meet in your life. Like just he's good to my kids, he's good to my wife, like, and that's fucking hard to fucking find, you know what I'm saying? And it's like I remember him like sincerely coming to me and being like, yo, like, thank you for this opportunity. Like I had no skin in the game, and you took a chance on me and let me do that first iBattle show, and now look what he's doing
for
with
free.
iBattle, where it's like, and I didn't see that because like that's who I am. He's my boy. I got you. Like if you're in my circle, you're in my motherfucking circle, and it's like I just took it as that's what I do. And then to hear like the gratitude from him of that was like,
Always.
It was a big moment for me where I was like, damn, I didn't even really look at it like that. Like, it's just what I do. But to see like how the little tiny things that you can do to impact somebody's life that like to me meant really nothing, you know what I mean? But to him, it put him on and gave him a platform, and then started getting respect from the iBattle guys and like, damn, dude, you killed it. That first show we put on was a banger.
That was
you know
fucking
what I mean?
epic. Yeah, that was really good.
And it was nice to be able to give him that spotlight, you know, and me to just step back and be like, this is just my place, bro. He did all this shit. And, you know, those are the people you want to surround yourself with, you know what I mean? Like I said before, you can't really choose who your friends are. And, like, a lot of my friends are people I normally wouldn't have hung out with back in the day, you know what I mean? And now it's like, these are people I trust with my motherfucking life. Yep. Like, I would do anything for, give anything for, and, like, I recently said, like, I've had so many barbers that work for me, people that came, like, so many people burned me, like, just stabbed me in the back in a second after everything I did for them, like, oh, thanks for all the shit, I'm gonna fuck you over and open a barbershop behind your back, you know what I mean, and take half of your employees and half of your fucking clientele, and, like, I'm not pouring into no cups and ain't pouring back into mine, no more, I'm done with it, like, if, and it could be small, it could be just, like, something like that, or what you guys are doing, like, you know, I don't know you guys very personally, but, like, I see what you're doing, I see the grind, I see that you're young kids really trying to inspire and impact the community, like, that's huge, you know what I mean, it ain't some clickbait negative shit, it's like, we're trying to really lift people up, and, like, there needs to be more of that, and the world today is so negative, and it's so, everything's so cutthroat, and so stepping on other people, you know, and I said it before, like, I don't got shit, dude, I don't own a house, I got my car's all smashed up, like, I got $4,000 in the bank if I'm lucky, and that's just because I just got my taxes. Before that, it was a lot fucking less. And like, I've thought about it before. It's like, yeah, I probably could be in a better position if I was willing to step over people, but like, I'm just not. And as much as sometimes I've tried to be like, maybe that's what I need to do, I just can't. I can only be me, you know what I mean? And
that resonates with me a lot
way,
too.
You know?
I had a couple opportunities when I was doing like, you know, living in corporate America. I remember specifically I was working for a company out of Cambridge called Forrester Research, and we had a new CSO come in, right? And I had a team of like 4 or 5 people in Cambridge. I had like 3 people in Dallas, and I had like 10 people in India that I would report to, right? So like I had a crazy schedule, and you know, so like I would work with the Indian team from like midnight to 2 a.m. Sleep, come in at like 6, work out, run like a 8 to 5 day, go home, crush some beers, snort some pills, stay up, fucking go to bed for a couple hours, blow an Adderall, work for 4 hours with them, go to bed, wake up. It was just crazy, and it was nonstop. And just like I was offered a promotion in a different department, and I was told that like if I take this promotion, then my team's gonna dissolve and they're all gonna get fired. And my dumb ass, I mean, it wasn't dumb. It was a noble thing, but like I was like, no, I can't leave my team. I was like, no, like I'm their manager, like I'm responsible for that. And so they ended up staying with the team, and they ended up dissolving the team, and obviously I was a part of it, so I ended up leaving the company. But like shit like that, like that's just and I think back to a conversation I had with my mother when I was like in the midst of my addiction, and you know, I was kind of off doing my own thing. I wasn't around many of my friends and family. I really isolated myself because I was embarrassed of the state that I was in, and so I didn't speak to her a lot. But when I did spoke to her, and she was like, listen, like, I'm gonna let you go, but like, remember, like, no matter what you're doing in life, like, I know you, and you'll always have the contents of your character. And he's like, don't fucking lose that, and you'll be all right. And you know, I think of that, and like, a lot of people would think it's crazy to turn down a promotion and like money that I never dreamed of to like, you know, to protect these like 25 people. And I really talked to one of them now 10 years later. No one's hit me on my birthday. You know what I mean? No one's checking in. Like, they know what I did, but like, that's all right, because like I could sleep well at night, you know, and that's kind of why I feel like I burned out in those like high stake sales situations, because like, or companies or whatnot, because like there's a lot of crazy fuck shit that goes on behind closed doors, and like I'm not that dude. Like, I'm content just like breaking even if it means I don't have to step on the top of your head to get an extra fucking 20-30 grand, whatever it is, a year, right? Like I'm not gonna do that. And that's just kind of why when I did this kind of reset, and you know, see people like Justin doing what he's doing, it's just when I made that decision to kind of pivot and just go all in with battle rap and like really bet on myself, and like a lot of people thought I was crazy, but like it's just like I'm content because I'm able to create, I'm able to do what I want to do right now, and like I'm just doing it all myself, and I'm good there, you know, and I'm able to give opportunities to people, and that's bigger than anything that I've ever done in my life. And so you know, that's a big part of it. So I feel that a lot, man. I fuck with that a lot. So
I don't know if you guys are, you know, religious or not, but regardless, I think the message in Mark, there's a quote saying like, you know, what good is having it all if you're willing to sell your soul for it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
So
I never was religious, but lately I've been just like, you know, I've been talking about going to church, and like I grew up with like grandmother that like, you know, was a bit brainwashed with religion, and you know, like how they talking about like, you know, all this religious stuff, but then they fight wars over it and they kill people over it, and like I'm very, very spiritual. And not too long ago I brought my wife and kids. I read an article on Facebook about the total eclipse, and this guy was like talking about how special it was, and like, you know, that he saw it in a transmission shop parking lot in Pawtucket, Kentucky, and like it changed his life. And I for months I sat on a soapbox at the shop, and I was reading this to everybody, and I was getting so emotional about it. And he's like, you know, don't go to a party, don't, you know, just stay with your glass. If you do anything, rent a bus and take as many people as you can to totality as possible. So I'm like, hey, we're going. It's 3.5 hours. My kid's like, I want to go do this. I'm like, look, either we're gonna go and it's gonna be miserable and we're never gonna forget it, or we're gonna go and it's gonna be magical and we're never gonna forget it. And they were like kind of bitching the whole time. I'm like, look, I'm pulling the dad card. I get up at 6 in the morning, bring you to dance. I pay for you guys to dance the last 15 years. Like, we are going.
Grateful though.
yeah.
So we ended up going, and we went to Vermont, and we ended up, after a couple different spots, we ended up on the side of the mountain at a
I remember when y'all did this.
at a cemetery, and there was like couple random cars there with nobody around. Nobody was in the cars. Nobody was around. I'm like, it looked like the apocalypse. So I'm
It's
like,
so on brand for you guys.
right.
Too.
So we get
so
there,
on brand for your family.
and you know they're all kind of like, well, this is boring. This and that. I'm like, just chill, you know. And everybody here, there's actually a video on our YouTube page, X Grind TV. And Zach, my brother-in-law, my brother, he does all the editing and stuff, and all the people are like, wow, with the glasses, and like all that shit you guys saw here was bogus. Like, we were waiting for that shit to be over, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden it starts to get this weird darkness, and like the bugs started to come out, and the birds, like nature was tricking these animals to be like, it's time to hunt. And it was 2:30 in the afternoon, and it was the most eeriest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm saying, I'm like, we're waiting for this. So everything people were seeing here, we were waiting for it to be over. We're waiting for it to click to 100% totality. And in this article, the guy says, like, he's like, the difference between 99% totality and 100% totality is significant and astronomical. So, like, unless you were in that sliver of the country where it came through, you didn't see shit. Like, people are like, oh, I saw it, was cool. Like, you saw nothing, okay? You didn't see nothing. And I remember standing on the roof of my wife's SUV, and my kids are all playing around, and I'm watching it, and right when it clicked, you could take your glasses off and you could look at this shit. I had my phone out, and I eventually threw my phone on the ground because I'm like, this is useless, you know what I mean? And I seen the most beautiful thing next to my kids being, I mean, this was one of the most influential days of my life. And I seen this shit click, and it was just this big, bright, white circle coming around the sun and the moon, and then this big fucking star thing shooting out, and I'm like, I started bawling like a grandmother seeing their grandchild for the first time. Like, I'm talking sobbing, like, oh my God. And it was like, right then and there, I'm seeing this Lord of the Rings special effect in real life happening in front of me. And at that very moment, I realized, like, the bills, the stress, the pressure, the parking spaces, the Wi-Fi, all this shit we think is important and that we care about means nothing. Like, are you happy? And you're surrounded by people that love you. And right then and there, I realized, like, oh, there is such a bigger picture going on that we're never going to fully understand. Right. So, like, are you happy and you're surrounded by people that love you? And it changed me forever. Like, there's definitely some kind of higher power. And I've dabbled into other religions and this and that, and now I'm, like, kind of leaning towards Christianity only because, like, I wanted to learn on my own, right? I looked into Muslim and Malcolm X, and I remember one time laying on my wife. She would lay on me, and I'm like a sponge. I like to learn shit now. Not when I was a kid, but now, you know. And we're talking about Martin Luther King, and I'm reading about him, and then Malcolm X comes in, and I'm like, oh, Malcolm X. And she's like, who's Malcolm X? I'm like, what? I'm like, he's Malcolm X. And then I'm like, you know what? I don't know what the fuck he did. So then I read about him, and I'm like, okay, this dude was a nobody, and then he got in with Elijah Muhammad, and he started doing the, what is it called? The,
Nation of Islam?
It's the black Muslims, what is it called?
Nation of Islam?
The Nation of Islam, right? So then he becomes a spokesperson. He's young, he can talk, he's charismatic, and he grows this shit from like 8 people to like 150,000 people, right? And then one day he says, this shit ain't real, or this shit ain't right, and I don't believe in this. And they said, Malcolm, do you want us to check people at the door? And he said, no, I live like a man that died yesterday. And guess what they did? They fucking killed him in front of his wife and kids that day, right? And it was a good, you don't have to be what you were, right? If you're a Nazi and you wake up one day and you're like, I'm wrong, you cannot be a Nazi. You know what I mean? You can change your thoughts. You can change your views. And it was like, it started to like get me to think of like, okay, let's look into Judaism. Let's look into all this. And, you know, and the real truth of the matter is like, you can look in the Bible, you can look into Christianity, and they ain't nothing about killing anybody. They ain't nothing about getting rid of the infidels. They ain't nothing about hurting people, right? And I had a talk with this young kid in the shop the other day. He's 17 years old. He booked an appointment under Apple. I'm like, are you Apple? And he was this Indian kid, and he's like, it was something I did when I was younger. I'm like, I love that. You're Apple to me now forever, you know? And we were just talking about life and parents and being good to people and helping people out and all the shit we're talking about here. And there was a Puerto Rican guy sitting in the chair, and he was a newer guy, and I was late, and I couldn't take him because I was so into this conversation. And I felt bad. I was like, damn, man, he's never coming back. Well, he came back 3 days later, and he sat in the chair, and he's like, I heard your conversation with your boy. And he's like, I'm a man of God, and I'm a Christian, you know? And I was like, oh, I wouldn't have thought that. His wife's from Iraq. So she's like, their family's devout Muslim, and he starts telling me his story and that, like, he did not believe in God. He was not religious. So immediately I started listening to him because I'm like, okay, you weren't indoctrinated by your family. This wasn't something you grew up with and they just told you this is what we do, you know? And he told me the same thing. He started looking into this and that and he realized all this shit in the Quran about like it was just a lot of violence, a lot of this, a lot of that. And he started talking to me about God and Christianity and this and that. And then just recently I ran into Brian. He was the owner of Concrete Wave, which was like a big store to me. Like, I used to look up to this dude, like really look up to this dude, you know what I mean? And we met at Sierra over in Westboro, the little store or whatever. And we just started shooting the shit. My wife's texting me, like, will you stop talking for like an hour? We're just sitting at the racks. And it was another aha moment for me because I used to really look up to this guy. And now I'm a colleague to him. And I'm talking about my business. And he's interested in what I'm doing. And he's really proud of what I've become. And like, it was huge for me because I really respect this dude and I really, really look up to him. And it was a cool moment for me to be in this young, stupid little kid that like will never be anything to being like equal with this guy now, you know? And he was telling me he goes to Lifesong Church and it's just like, it's so crazy you brought that up because it's just been coming back in my life where it's like, I think I gotta go to church. I think I gotta find my contact with God. And like, you know, they used to say in AA when I didn't believe in God, like group of drunks, this and that. And someone said the other day, the great outdoors. And I was like, whoa. Because like I love outside. I love the total eclipse. And it's like you cannot be out in the nature and not think of some other kind of creator. You know what I mean? And it's like, I recently, you know, in the past couple of years got into psychedelics and I was like into aliens and all this shit, which I still believe.
He's a big space guy.
The universe is huge, dude. It's amazing. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. We ain't not alone, right? And maybe that's what God is. You know, and back in the day, you heard of God in the fiery chariot going up in the sky. This is during the you know Romans and during the Egyptians, and it's like, yo, that's a spaceship, dog. Like that's something else. You know what I mean? And it's like maybe. And then about 3 months ago, someone shared this thing to me, and it was so profound. Because I've always been afraid to die, right? And not because I'm afraid of death, but because I love life. And I want to be there, and I want to see my kids, and what's next, right? And there was this story of these two babies inside of a womb. And the babies are talking. And one baby's like, you know, what comes after birth? And the other baby's like, nothing. Nobody's ever came back from that. That's the end of us, you know? And the other baby's like, yeah, but what if there's something else? What if we can walk with our feet and eat with our mouths? And the baby's like, that's preposterous. Everything we need, we get from mother. And the other baby's like, how do we know that mother exists? And the other baby says, mother is in us. We are mother. Mother is all around us. And I was just like, they're talking about God, bro. Like, and then I really thought, like, maybe death ain't so bad. Maybe there's a whole nother thing that we can't even comprehend that's way better than this, that we're never going to understand because no one's ever came back from there. You know what I mean? Then me and my wife are going back and forth, and it was a rough year for us. And like, I have a spiritual buddy that I talked to for a while. I got sober with him. He's gone through the psychedelic journey, all this, and he's like, hey, I'm doing this one-on-one with men, so let's sit and talk. I'm like, he's like, get a safe place to talk. I'm like, I don't have a safe place in my house. I don't want my wife hearing what we're talking about, my kids. And so he's like, dude, go to the car. Middle of a snowstorm. I'm in the car. And I love this dude to death. He's one guy that we've always stayed in contact with. We've always kind of been on the same path mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And he's like, okay. He's like, I need you to be open. And I sit down. I got my hat on, my jacket on. And he's like, right away, he's like, is that a red hat? And I'm like, no, it's orange. And he's like, okay. And he's like, look, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine a white circle. I want you to imagine you sitting me to you face to face in a chair. This is a safe place. You can be open. We can talk, openly. And then he starts talking. And he's like, before I did this reading or whatever he called it, I did some meditation. And he's like, he's like, I got this message from like your ancestors that are saying like they see you and they're proud of you. And I was like, damn. And then he's like, I keep getting this red hat. Let me show you something real quick.
Red hat.
You see that? Show the camera. This is my grandma. This is my grandma that just died like 4 months ago. This is her couch.
Already here.
Yeah, and I was able to be there with her and like at her bed, and I like wasn't on drugs, and I could be present. And are you scared, Graham? And has anybody came and talked to you? I want to know. Like I want to know what's next. And as soon as he said like, I keep getting this red hat, I just started bawling, and I'm like, oh my God, that's my grandmother. Like my ancestors are watching me and they're proud of me, and you keep getting this red hat. He didn't know my grandmother was dead. He didn't know my grandmother was in the Red Hats, which is like a little group of old ladies that craft shit and stuff. And I was just like, holy fuck, dude, that's definitely my grandmother. There's definitely something else. There's definitely another realm. And she's here telling me I'm watching you and I'm proud of you. And it was like such a moment for me where I was like, oh my God. I was like ready to kill myself, really. And like, I just couldn't take the pressure of life. And that just made me be like, holy shit, dude, like, I'm okay, and, like, I'm gonna be okay, and, like, God is good, and, like, no matter what, like, he's got me, clearly, like, all my friends are dead, literally all of them, except for Tim, like, they're all dead, and I'm not, and I ran harder than all of them, and it's like, why is that? Why am I still here? And it's because somebody's fucking watching over me, so, like, my next goal is to get to church and to figure out what all that means to me, you know what I mean? But, like, it was a really, really, really powerful moment for me. This year's been influential in my life. Like, it's been crazy. Like,
see, I'm glad I'm not very religious because I don't know how I would have followed that. So yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say. Oh yeah, just reset this camera. We got another 10
Just
minutes.
keeps turning off by itself.
No, it's okay.
It might be dead.
It's clean.
Nope, it's back. All right, I got you.
You're good.
That's my check, bro.
Good night.
Bro.
Do what they're
but
building.
thank you for that.
Oh yeah.
Because, like, there's no question why that keeps coming up in my life, So I got to dive into that.
Okay.
Got to figure that out, It's
I
crazy.
think it just shows a lot about your character, and
Yeah.
like I said, whether you are or not, it's it's just an overall good message to live by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I always kind of went by, like, if you can't do God, do good. And I can definitely do good. And I never understood God. But maybe I'm not supposed to understand God.
Yeah, no, like there's like an Emerson quote that I have on my wall, and it's basically just like the meaning of life, and it's just like if throughout your, I'm paraphrasing, but like throughout your life, if like anything has thrived that's living, whether it be like a child's laugh or like a blade of grass, or like basically like if you're like on this earth, like your job is to make the people around you better, right? And like when I moved back to Worcester after kind of traveling around, living in Boston, I moved back when I was like 34, and like I think of something my friend always tells me, and I decided not to just like make Worcester my home, but decide to be a part of a community and like look for like, to build a small community. And that's what I feel like small business is. That's what I feel like what you guys are doing is like, we're like a small community of creatives, and as that community grows, like it's just, I think it's better for everybody, you know what I mean? And like it's just like taking stock in the city and just trying to throw events that are exciting for the city, and like that's really big, and like, you know what I mean? So that's just kind of how I kind of like just think of things, like, you know what I mean? And I just want, especially the people I care about most, like, any way we could help support, like that's what we're here to do. So
Yeah.
It's crazy that what's it called? Was iBattle our second or third?
That was our third locked in.
Our third locked
Yeah,
in.
we had four. We had four of the battle rappers
crazy.
on.
And
there.
yeah.
Corduroy, Isolated, Phoebo, and then Big Rel.
And I'll tell y'all what. I'll tell y'all any
Shout out
battle
to
rappers.
CJ.
There's gonna be a lot of battle rappers watching this for sure. And I'm saying, like I said, right now, Isolated is actually headlining against Phoebo today in his first headline card.
Great.
Corduroy just battled Fee for the King of the Five. Shout out King of the Five out in Brockton. But Corduroy is actually one of the most on fire battlers to make it to like the main roster on iBattle from around here as well. So yeah, man, good things happen to anyone that like talks to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Big Rel's been killing it on the Forge.
Shout out Big Rel.
We're gonna get Big Rel back up here for this event at the 25th.
I'm an
for sure.
ISO fan, man. He's
sure.
got so
ISO's
much
amazing.
fire in
So
him.
much
I like his
swag, yeah.
aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Like,
Man,
I remember
yeah.
seeing him be like, "Wow, this kid's on a whole nother level." Like he's telling Tim today, he's like a WWF star. He just puts on that persona of like
Same with Phoebo. I feel like
so much
he's the
energy
man.
in it.
He's
where
the
it's like,
man.
I'm an energy guy. You know what I mean?
into it.
I don't know
Yeah,
where Phoebo's at.
100%.
Phoebo's somewhere in the country.
Phoebo's
He was like,
always-
I'm like,
always
where are
vibing,
you,
bro.
fool? But yeah,
So,
he's crazy,
Shout
man.
out to iBattle because I love doing those events, and that's how me and Tim came about. But,
Absolutely.
It's what, February 28th at the day of recording this, but it's funny, I was telling Chris yesterday, I just happened to look at some of the videos, and I saw that our first episode, I believe, was March 4th.
Oh,
so
wow.
of doing Locked In, so I was like, you know, to kind of see it come full circle, and, you know, having iBattle and, you know, Axe to Grind,
Absolutely.
having it happen at the same time, and now we're here.
It's all the way up for all of us.
Talking
That's
to
awesome.
Absolutely.
to the two heads itself, you know. So
Absolutely.
I mean, it's been quite the full circle,
Yeah, it's
and
cool.
it's amazing to get this opportunity to really connect on a more personal level with you guys, you know.
Yeah, man.
This
Likewise.
has been real. Like I love hearing about the stories, and you guys have been so supportive of our brand, and we're always going to show you guys the support, whether it's for Actually Grind, you yourself, or iBattle, and Tim, the things that you're building yourself. Like
Appreciate that,
you guys honestly have been an inspiration for me and Matt, just because we're a bit younger than you guys, and we have looked up to you guys and how you know haven't sold your souls or sold yourself to really get where you're going to be at.
That's
because-
funny because I look up to you guys, and it's just like
See, that's
you
awesome.
guys
It's
doing it
likewise,
so
bro.
young. I mean,
Likewise.
like, man, you guys
Absolutely.
are on
Love
fire,
it.
and it's like you got the whole world ahead of you. You know what I'm saying? And if I could be where you're at your age, like I wasn't. You know what I mean? So it's like the possibilities are endless. You know?
Yeah, man.
It's
you know,
cool to watch.
But like, I feel like also like I'm the best version of myself right now as a you. You know what I mean? And like we're here for a reason, and we're here at this moment in time, and that's what I'm saying. Like building a community. You know what I mean? I look forward to work with you guys. My bad.
No, you're good.
Look forward to where I'm all getting too comfortable. But yeah, no, look forward to working with y'all in the future. We have some cool things coming up. So
Yes, sir.
it's
Amazing.
it'll be a vibe, man.
Thank you. This is probably like one of the rawest.
Yeah, this is our rawest one. We just wanted to really like this is what we do. We don't want it to be like you're walking on to friggin' Jimmy Kimmel and you got people clapping and you can't see a damn thing. Like,
when I said,
the
I'm like,
sun,
what do you
can't
guys
see a
need
damn
from me?
thing,
And you're
but-
like, just be an open book. I'm like, well, you got the right guy, bro.
Yeah. When y'all wrote that in the text, I was like, y'all don't know what you're asking for this. I was like, I was like, no problem.
But real quick, we just plug anything that you guys are building, plug anything any events coming up for you guys, anything of that matter, or just let the people know what you guys got going on.
Yeah, man. We have iBattle coming to Worcester weekend of May 25th. It's looking we're doing at least one show here at Axe to Grind. I have a couple other things going on. We're starting a new league very shortly. Me and my partner Memo, we're gonna have some events this summer. As I said, I was elected to the Worcester Advisory Council for the City Council for the Advisory Board for Homelessness and Arts. So we're looking forward to bringing a lot of really cool shows to Worcester, and we'll definitely get let you guys know a little bit more as I get more information for that. But yeah, man, and just building, doing as much cool shit as I can. I love it here, and I think it's a great city, and just looking forward to working with a lot more people and doing some more cool shit with my boy here.
Hell yeah. Once again, we've totally revamped Axe to Grind Barbershop and now Tattoo Company. We got 2 full-time tattoo artists. My wife does spray tans and back. We got 3 other barbers, including me. I'm looking for one more barber. Feel free to pop in and check out the shop, even if you don't get a haircut. Like Tim said, we're doing iBattle. I still have the Hairy Lungs Foundation. You can follow that on Instagram. You can follow Barber Pit. You can follow Axe Grind Barbershop, Tattoo Company. I don't know what's coming next because I don't think that far ahead. I just take it as it comes, and I know there will be more coming next.
Big
We're
things
about to
coming.
drop merch, and there's a lot of stuff in the bubbles right now, and we're just trying to keep moving forward and keep innovating and doing new stuff and different stuff and there'll be some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. But I guess you're gonna have to follow along to find out.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
And give us both a like if you see us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give us both a like.
Say what's
Like
up
your
to
friend's
boys.
shit,
Say like
okay?
your friend's shit.
Say what's
Very
up to them
easy.
if you ever see
Very
them. For
easy
real.
to support
You never
friends,
know what
man.
Bare
conversation-
minimum.
Yeah, when you were saying that, bare minimum,
That's what it
Matt.
is.
It
Yep,
relates
that's what
with
it
Matt
is.
big time. But
That's what it is, bro.
100%.
appreciate you guys. Thank
Likewise.
you
Love
for
y'all, man.
having us. And,
Appreciate y'all.
This has been Locked In. We'll see you guys later.
Yes, sir.